How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I go by Spider, and in this video we're going to be breaking down WPF week number 9 against Dashing Sceptile and the Seattle Sigilifts. Dashing is a long-time Pokemon Draft League enjoyer and a good friend of mine, so make sure you go check out his channel in the description below, as well as all the rest of the coaches, obviously. Now, this is a high-stakes game. Besides like the playoffs, this is as high stakes as you could get. Me and Sceptile are both in a playoff position. This is the last week of the regular season, obviously, at week 9. And, well, not obviously, but it is. And basically, whoever loses this battle will not be in playoffs, as far as I understand it. That's what Sceptile told me, so I'm trusting him at face value. I have a better differential, but it really doesn't matter because we're both 5-3. So whoever loses will potentially not be in playoffs. But whoever wins is guaranteed. So it's going to be crazy. I feel like we should be guaranteed at this point because I feel like I lost a battle in there that I really shouldn't have. Maybe two. I'm not sure. I don't really remember the other ones. But anyway, what's done is done. All we can do is try to win this one. I put a lot of focus and effort into this week's team. So I hope you enjoyed the video, first of all. So let's get into the Seattle Sigilifts team. He has a team of Garchomp, Tornadus Therian, Galarian Slowking, Alamomola, Mienshao, Lokix, Tinkaton, Electros, Alolan Sandslash, Komala, and Carkol. My opponent's Terra Captains are Lokix with Terra, Bug, Dark, and Fire, Alolan Sandslash with Ice, Electric, and Ghost, and Carkol with Fire, Fairy, and Water. So a few quick notes. His only hazard removal is going to be Alolan Sandslash, Carkol, and Komala. I don't expect to see Carkol or Komala. Alolan Sandslash for 2 points as a Terra Captain is actually crazy value, especially when you look at it in terms of its ability to sweep with Slush Rush, plus the Chilly Reception synergy with Galarian Slowking. And aside from that, he's got four Regenerator Pokemon: Tornadus Therian, Galarian Slowking, Alamomola, and Mienshao. So that's going to be a big problem to deal with. I think the best way of dealing with it is just to hit things really hard. And, if it's a drawn-out game, the Regenerator is definitely going to, become a factor. He also picked up Garchomp in free agency a few weeks ago, which is crazy. Someone must have dropped it, obviously. And I'm very surprised someone would drop it because I think Garchomp's awesome. But then again, I've only really used it as a Terra Captain, and obviously it's not able to Terra this season, so that might affect it. One last thing, shout out to Brian, aka BGC0 on Discord. He always helps me with my teams and all that. We've been focused on something else right now, but he helped me out a lot with this team as well. And I did do a few mocks with this one as well, so shout out to all those guys. And yeah, let's get right into the team. So first off, I got the Spectrier holding a Colbur Berry with 184 EVs into speed with a timid nature, 212 in special attack, and 112 in defense. Now, that defense investment will essentially allow me to take, potentially, well, it's like a 90% chance I'll be able to take the two. He'd need a really high roll on both hits, but if he goes non-Terra Dark, so let's just assume he hasn't Terastallized into a Dark type, if he's Adamant Life Orb, I will be able to take a burned knockoff into a Sucker Punch because of the Colbur Berry. So I'm assuming if I'm at full health, he'll click knockoff first. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just clicks Sucker Punch. That would be ideal because then we can go for a Will-O-Wisp, and at that point we can probably Nasty Plot. Because we still have our Colbur Berry intact, which means we can basically just Nasty Plot on it. But that probably won't happen. He'll probably knock off the first time. He might even First Impression, because Tinted Lens First Impression goes and it's just stupid. It's just stupid. But besides that, the speed investment is there for the Tornadus Therian. Obviously, it will hit a max of 375. We are sitting here at a beautiful 376. Honestly, mock battles for this particular battle have gone pretty wacky, to be honest. I've let a lot of things just drop, and then Spectrier comes in and sweeps. I think Spectrier is definitely, it has a great matchup here. He doesn't have a normal type, and his dark type is Lokix, and we outspeed everything naturally. So I think it's got a great matchup. If I'm able to get a Nasty Plot off and, be in a decent position, I could definitely sweep. So definitely looking forward to using this Pokemon this week. Next up is Regigigas, Terra Fairy. Now, this was my sole physically defensive Pokemon for a while, but I switched that up last minute, I guess. We are Icy Wind, Thunderbolt, Knockoff, Protect with leftovers. We're just here to deal with Mienshao and Garchomp, essentially. Thunderbolt will also hit Alamomola a little bit harder, just so I can pressure that thing a little bit. It's probably not gonna it won't 2-hit KO it, but it'll come close. if he's physically defensive. And like I said, just put a little bit of pressure on him. Knockoff is obviously nice to knock off items. Icy Wind is to hit Garchomp decently hard, but also just keep it slow so that it can't scale. Well, it can't skill shot anyway because I'm a fairy type, right? But that's really the best option for hitting Garchomp. So without dealing with the rough skin damage, obviously. And then Protect is just to stall out the slow start turns, even though I only have one physical attack here. But it's also just get leftovers recovery and kind of scout for certain things. Next up I have Hisuian Arcanine, also physically defensive, except this guy has a touch of speed, approximately 108 EVs into speed, so that we can try to outspeed a Garchomp who's not bulky, who's not a non-fast Garchomp essentially. So this Pokemon is mainly just here for the low kicks, to be honest. Because they intimidate, it allows me to take hits even better. Because Regigigas, even though it resists the first impression, it really doesn't because of Tinted Lens. If he's Terra Bug, Choice Band, or Life Orb, that first impression does insane damage. It just goes stupid all over my team. So Arcanine is really the best thing to be able to take those hits. I can also reliably recover with Morning Sun. Just gotta make sure the chilly reception, the snow isn't up, because then I'll only do a quarter. I'll only heal 25% of my health. We obviously want to avoid that, right? Will-O-Wisp is just there to potentially catch the Garchomp on the switch in. If it is a defensive Garchomp, that would make it, a lot of sense to bring it in on me, and burning it would obviously cripple it. It also does residual damage to the Alomomola switch in. Those are really the two Pokemon that I see kind of in this thing's way offensively. And obviously we're not using it offensively, but if my opponent doesn't know that yet, it could really help to get a burn off. We also have Stealth Rocks just to, get up hazards. Like I said, his hazard removal is not the best. It's basically 3 really low tier Pokemon. So if we get up hazards and my opponent does not just run boots on everything, it could be decent. So last slot is just extreme speed just for some priority. Next up is Ting-Lu, another anchor to the team throughout the season. 248 HP, 148 defense, and 112 special defense with the impish nature. That special defense investment will allow us to take 2+2 Bleak Wind Storms from a Tornadus as long as it's timid, which it will be to outspeed Thundurus, and no boosting item, which I also think is pretty likely. I think it's either Assault Vest or Heavy Duty Boots or something like that. I don't think he'll run Life Orb, but you never know, I guess. I initially had Stealth Rocks, but I was able to change it to Spikes once I added Arcanine to the team, because Arcanine has Stealth Rocks, so then I can run Spikes on this. Then we have Edgequake. I really want to be able to hit Tornadus Therian pretty hard, and that'll, obviously Stone Edge will do a lot of damage to it. Whirlwind is just to phase things out. If Garchomp is in front of me and it Swords Dances, we can definitely Whirlwind that out. We could Whirlwind a potential Alolan Sandslash that tries to set up, or a Swords Dancing Mienshao, or a Nasty Plot Tornadus. If it's at full health and I am not confident in connecting with 2 Stone Edges, I could just Whirlwind, right? For our 5th option on the team, we have Thundurus Incarnate version. The EVs are just max HP, 156 defense, and 104 speed. With that jolly nature, we will outspeed low kicks 100% of the time with this set, as long as he's not Choice Scarfed. We have Taunt, U-Turn, Knockoff, and Thunder Wave. It's just going to be a lead. I don't have hazard removal on this team, so I'd like to lead with this. If he leads Garchomp, Taunt is very free. He could Stone Edge potentially, but that doesn't OHKO us, and we can knock off the following turn. Even though we may not outspeed it, I don't really care. I just want to keep hazards off the field for the rest of my team to hopefully go crazy. Thunder Wave will help for speed control. Obviously, getting the Prankster Thunder Waves are going to be great. The only things that really don't get paralyzed are going to be Komala, Electros, and low kicks. I'm not going to be clicking Thunder Wave against low kicks anyway. I just want to be able to hit it with potentially a knockoff or a U-turn, either one. U-turn is obviously just there for switch initiative. This Pokemon probably isn't going to do much, but it will help facilitate the rest of the team. I didn't think an offensive Thundurus made too much sense here. I just feel like there's too much bulk on this team to be able to really break through with this thing. Something that can break through, however, is going to be a Quaquaval, which is just a standard, Aqua Step Sweeper with Moxie and Protective Pads. Protective Pads will really help against a obviously rough skin Garchomp, as well as a Rocky Helmet Alomomola. Both of those, I think Rocky Helmet Alomomola is pretty likely, I would say, to try to chip down the Quaquaval, who otherwise has a great matchup. So protective pads will, obviously protect against that. Alluring Voice, which is what I'm expecting from Alomomola to kind of try to shut down Quaquaval, still does not do that much damage. So as long as we be careful and make sure we're not Swords Dancing in front of Aloe or Aqua Stepping, as long as we don't, we could kill Alomomola with, or Feint, we could knock out Alomomola with the Aqua Step. But if we're not doing that, then it's just not worth it unless we know he doesn't have Alluring Voice. I would expect our Alluring Verse to come so that, he's able to kind of shut down the setup. But honestly, I didn't have this Pokemon on the team at first, and then I realized the true power. I mean, Max Attack Adamant, if we go for Swords Dance as Aloe comes in, and it's anywhere under like 65 to 70%, we're just OHKOing it. And that's great. Even if we close combat and it doesn't knock it out, that's probably better, because if he Alluring Voices that turn, it does, even at -1 SpDef, it does like 35 to 40%. I mean, it's Alomomola is a very weak Pokemon. And then the next turn with Aqua Step, we're +1 attack, +1 speed, +3 attack. We're going crazy. He'll bring in low kicks next, right? I'm fanficking this. He'll bring in low kicks. We click protect on the first impression, and then we're golden. He could also have Sucker Punch with the Tinted Lens boost. It might knock us out at that point. But I don't really have a third move that I really want to run. I think obviously Sucker Punch is going to be a little weaker. I think First Impression is base 90. Sucker Punch is going to be base 70, so it's going to be a little weaker, which is helpful. But Protect will obviously help against that. And like I said, I didn't really need any other coverage. Dual Stab is easily going to put in a lot of work here. Also, if he brings Fake Out on like a Tinkaton, but more likely a Mienshao, we can obviously avoid that with the Protect. So that's going to be the team that we are bringing in week 9. Again, high stakes. Really excited for this one. Again, make sure you go check out Dashing Sceptile's point of view from this battle, along with the rest of the coaches. I'm sure there's other high stakes battles this week, so make sure you go check out all of those guys. And with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and cut the video right here, and I will see you guys right in the battle. Week number 9 of the WPF. Huge stakes, a lot on the line here. A playoff trip actually on the line here. Going up against Dashing Sceptile and the Seattle Sigilifts. My opponent brings pretty much what I expected except for Komala. I didn't expect Komala, I expected Mienshao, or even Tinkaton, or even Sandslash, but a lone Sandslash. But it doesn't really change my lead. I'm going to lead Thundurus anyway. Take a big swig there, and let's get started. Good luck, have fun, of course. There it is. And pretty much just going to lead Thundurus. This is obviously ideal for me because he leads Tornadus, which is, a normal lead or a common lead if you have Tornadus on your team. But I basically get a free attack off here because I know he's not going to stay in. I can just knock off, even if he does stay in, knockoff's ideal. He does go Garchomp, which is pretty much what I expected. So I'm going to get a big turn 1 crit here. Obviously, this is a voiceover. I didn't mention this, but I mean that's pretty clear because I'm talking and my lips aren't moving in the video. The Oscars were on, so full transparency. That's probably why. That's why I didn't want to turn my mic on during this battle. So that damage tells me he's a pretty bulky Garchomp. I don't know how much speed he has, but he could still outspeed me because I'm not max speed on this Thundurus. I'm only here to creep the low kicks. I do taunt just in case he tries to set up hazards or Swords Dance. He does in fact try to Swords Dance. So this is a pretty ideal 2 turns for me so far. Couldn't be much better, much happier with this. So at this point I will just U-turn. If I don't outspeed, that's fine. I'll take any 1 hit and I can just get the slow U-turn off. But if I am faster, that's also fine. I do end up being faster here. I take rough skin damage, which is obvious. I knew that was coming, right? So my plan here is to go into Regigigas. I can take several hits. He can't set up on me because he's taunted, and I can just go for a Terra Fairy immediately and try to Icy Wind this thing and knock it out potentially. So we are going to go into Regigigas, and he actually goes for Dragon Tail, which is pretty unique, pretty cool. He told me after the game it was to try to beat a potential Whirlwind Tinglu, because obviously he'd be faster if I click Whirlwind. So Swords Dance Dragon Tail is pretty cool, but yeah, he does bring me into Tinglu. Now I don't actually know if I outspeed the Garchomp with my Thundurus now because he used a negative priority move, so I would outspeed him no matter what. But yeah, I get into Tinglu and I just go for spikes immediately. It's very safe. It's very free. I knew he probably wasn't going to stay in, but even if he did, I'm a pretty bulky Tinglu, right? So it doesn't really matter if he attacks me there. I could just Whirlwind once his taunt wears off if I really wanted to. So having a 1 layer of spikes up is nice, but having 2 up is even better. So I'm going to go for spikes again. I figured if he wishes this turn and then goes for a flip turn the next turn, I can just Whirlwind him, and that's negative priority. So he's going to flip turn, and then whatever he brings in is not going to get the wish because I'll be Whirlwinding them out. So he doesn't go for wish though. He goes for a slower flip turn. So because I outsped him, I know he's a minimum speed Alamomola, so like a relaxed nature plus 0 IVs in speed, because otherwise he would always outspeed me. I'm base 45 and Aloe is base 65, so it's actually kind of nice that I outsped there because I got an extra layer of spikes up, so I did like an extra 6% to the low kicks, which is kind of cool. But you guys know, if you watched the team builder right before this, in the same video actually, my designated switch in here is Arcanine. He has no hazards up, so this is pretty ideal. Now if he has Terra Dark and he goes for knockoff, that might do a lot of damage, but I still I can take 2 of anything, and with the Intimidate, and I'll still be getting Rocky Helmet Chip. So ideally he's not that. So he does Terrasilize here, which I figured was coming. Survey says, what Terrasalization is he going to be? It's going to be Bug. So Bug is fine because it's actually preferred. I didn't want to see Terra Dark for obvious reasons. He's going to First Impression. Now this is going to do a good chunk, right? But I'm specifically here to deal with low kicks, and like I said, since Mienshao isn't here, it really looks like his team is not very well prepared to take on this Arcanine. Now here I'm in a bit of a conundrum because he could U-turn, but I don't think he's going to do that since he's going to take more Rocky Helmet damage. So I just end up Morning Sunning just to be safe. He does actually click U-turn, which surprised me, because you're not really doing that much damage. I can just heal it off. I guess he doesn't know I have Morning Sun. But that's fine with me. So he's going to get in anything for free here, but if I have my Arcanine in, I can at least pretty much burn anything, and if he wants to go Komala, I can deal with that as well. So he does actually end up going Komala here, so I will heal up with the Morning Sun and keep my Arcanine healthy. I think this Pokemon, like I said, if I get Garchomp down, and it's already whittled to a degree from the Thundurus, if I get Garchomp down, this Arcanine is very hard to deal with. So I do consider going Spectrier immediately, just because the Rapid Spin is pretty obvious. He wants to get rid of the spikes, right? But I figure Thundurus is a good middle ground, just in case he wants to predict something, because I take any one hit. Like I said, I'm still pretty healthy with the Thundurus, and there's nothing I can do to this Pokemon. I can't Will-O-Wisp it, right, because of Comatose. I can extreme speed, but the damage on this Pokemon doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to get in Thundurus to try to knock off as many times as I can. So he does Rapid Spin. It does about, I think it was like 18 to 20%, something like that, which is fine. It tells me he doesn't have actually like any attack investment. And we don't see Assault Vest, or sorry, we don't see Boots, we don't see Leftovers. So I'm going to assume this Pokemon's Assault Vest at this point, because since he doesn't have any attack investment, I'm assuming it's just here to spin and try to deal with a potential, Spectrier, right? So he does Hard Switch here, and I did kind of expect Garchomp, but I felt like Knockoff was still just the best play. I'm still in a pretty commanding position, and I know that I most likely don't drop to any one move here unless it's a potential Stone Edge. I do go for U-turn because I actually forgot that Garchomp had clicked a negative priority move last time, so I didn't know that he outspeeds, so he actually does. And I think it takes me a little while to realize that, because at first I thought it was a speed tie. But he gets a crit on the first one, but he only gets 2 shots, so I don't know how to feel about that. I feel kind of lucky, but it could have been better, but it could have been much worse as well, as we are able to get the U-turn off. We don't knock it out, but we don't die to the Rough Skin, which is great. Now I'm in a little bit of a conundrum, but kind of a good problem to have. I want to see what punishes his switch out the most. Obviously, Arcanine doesn't really punish his switch out because he could just go Alamomola, which is, not ideal for us for obvious reasons. But I ended up going Regigigas because I don't want to go Quack or Spectrier, because both of those Pokemon will take pretty big hits from this Pokemon because it's at +1 speed. The Earthquake's going to do a lot, right? But I also don't want to go Arcanine. I could go either Tinglu or Regigigas. I felt like going Regigigas here made a lot of sense because I could get the Terrasilize off and I can knock off anything on the switching. So if they want to go Alamomola, at least I'll get rid of that thing's item, right? So he does just end up staying in and clicking Earthquake. That's fine. I do go for knockoff here, which is, you know, like I said, but I do take some rock skin damage. But if I missed an Icy Wind there, because Icy Wind I believe is 95% accurate, if I miss an Icy Wind there, that's even worse, because then I take another Earthquake, right? So I'm still sitting at a good chunk of health, a little over half. Now my opponent makes another interesting play and goes low kicks. I would have personally just gone Alamomola and tried to heal up something with Wish. I don't know if he has Wish, but I would assume he does, because that's what Alamomola does really well. But yeah, instead he just goes low kicks and tries to, you know, U-turn, but I'm fine with this. I do protect just to get some health back. I figured he wouldn't be Swords Dance if he has First Impression and U-turn. That just wouldn't make sense. So he does just go for a U-turn there. Maybe he's predicting Arcanine, but if I go Arcanine there, or here, he still takes Rocky Helmet damage. He's taking almost as much damage as my Arcanine is taking. So I do contemplate going Arcanine for a while. And you can see I almost ran out of time here, but I just click knock off because I figure if he does U-turn, which he does, I don't U-turn, I can just knock off any item from anything coming in here, which is pretty helpful. If I go Arcanine, yeah, I do some chip with Rocky Helmet, but if he goes Alamomola, he could heal something up pretty easily, so I don't want to do that. At least I want to punish that, you know. So he goes Tornadus, which is fine. We're going to be able to knock off its boots. Because it is boots and because it's lead, that makes me believe that he's not going to be like a nasty plot set. So, you know, only time will tell though, right? So I just make the easy play, going Tinglu. It's I can take any one hit. I can take several hits from this Pokemon. We haven't actually seen any move from this, so I'm not too sure. But like I said, I'm not that concerned about a nasty plot set because I can still take a +2 Grass Knot easily and then just Whirlwind. So he does end up clicking knockoff, and that does pitiful damage. It tells me he has no attack investment with the calculation there, and probably also a negative attack nature, so probably timid. So here I could click Stone Edge, but I just click Spikes because I figured he might U-turn. He does have Taunt though, so that makes sense. You know, like I said, just your typical you know, Tornadus pivot that tries to be annoying and is very good at being annoying. So here I do contemplate clicking Stone Edge, but I figure it's probably my best interest to switch because I don't knock him out with Stone Edge certainly, and I figure he's going to U-turn here, so it's not really going to matter. So I go into Arcanine to try to get as much chip on this Pokemon as possible. I know it will get Regenerator health, but it's not going to be necessarily at full health when it comes back in. So I'll get a little bit of chip on it, and Arcanine, looking at the rest of his team, since Garchomp is down, it's really kind of hard to. There's really no one answer to it, right? He does go for Bleak Wind Storm there and misses. I don't think it really matters because it doesn't do much to me anyway. So that's fine. I am just going to click. What did I click? Did I click Stealth Rocks? I think I did click Stealth Rocks here. I knew he wasn't going to taunt, or I didn't think he would. I actually thought he was going to switch because he hadn't seen Stealth Rocks from this Pokemon at this point. I think he's only seen Morning Sun. So to me that just seemed like a death sentence. Like if I just click a rock type move, I know I'm defensive, but still it will knock this Pokemon out at that point. So I figured if I just click a rock type move, he'd die. So I thought he'd bring in like a Slowking or something like that, or an Alamomola for sure. But he does just knock off, which will help him kind of alleviate some pressure from low kicks. I have my rocks up. I could go Morning Sun, but I don't really feel like that's very useful at this point. I still have plenty of health. So I just click Extreme Speed just to get that a little bit more chip on that Tornadus. If we're able to keep the Stealth Rocks up and keep the Komala from rapid spinning, we're in a good spot with those Stealth Rocks for sure. Here I cut the video. I had to go charge my phone, and the charger was all across the room, so that's why I kind of dipped for a minute there. He brings in Aloe, and I feel like at this point it's just free to burn this Pokemon. If he wants to Wish, that's fine. I will say that he did not click Wish once this game, which was very interesting to me. I feel like this could have been, you know, it could have been more difficult to chip things down if he had just had the Wish support there. Slow flip turn is very nice. So instead, he is just going to flip turn there, and he brings in Komala. Now, so I wanted to burn the Aloe, obviously, to mitigate the flip turn damage, but also just get some residual damage on it. Maybe help Quaquaval sweep at the end or something like that. At this point, I'm still in a very commanding position. I can heal up anything I want, and it just seems like I've got the edge here. So I do Morning Sun, and as long as he doesn't have any attack investment, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't at this point, I just said that phrase two times in a row, he doesn't knock me out with an Earthquake. In fact, I did kind of expect a Rapid Spin there, but even now, even if he outspeeds me, he should not knock me out with an Earthquake. I think it does like 93% maximum. So he'd need a pretty good roll to be able to do that. So I figure I'll just go for Stealth Rocks again. If he Earthquakes and knocks me out somehow, that's fine. I get a free switch into probably Quaquaval. But if he goes, or anything else really. But if he switches or he does something else, I can get Stealth Rocks up and then force the spin again. So he does switch, which is great for me. So I've shown 3 moves at this point. Oh no, I've shown 4. I did Extreme Speed the Tornadus. So I am surprised he switched, or he stayed in. I'm sorry, I am surprised he switched because I can't really damage that Kamala very easily. But I guess he didn't have Earthquake, right? That's my guess. So I do click Stealth Rocks there, which is great. Now he goes Slowking, and I'm just gonna go into Tinglu, and that damage is pitiful. Like it's really bad. So it tells me he has no investment. He could be Assault. Oh wait, no, he's Boots. No, we don't know if he's Boots because we went for Rocks after he switched. So who knows? It could be Boots, it could be AV. We just don't know yet. He does Hard Switch. I expected a Tornadus to come in, but it actually ends up being the Komala. So he's going to take Stealth Rocks damage and this big Earthquake, which will do a hefty chunk. I figured if he brings in Tornadus, I can just Stone Edge the next turn. So it's really, and if he U-turns predicting something and goes into something else, like I'm just getting damage on everything because I still have the hazards up. So at this point I make kind of a ballsy, not really ballsy play, but you know, I kind of want to get out of this rut of just switching around. You can see my team is chipped down to an extent. His team is obviously more chipped, but if I'm able to keep the hazards up, I could just win here immediately. So I end up going Spectrier. I feel like the Rapid Spin was pretty telegraphed at this point, which makes me think maybe he doesn't click it here, but he does end up going for the Rapid Spin. And at this point we're in a great position, so we basically get a kill here, as long as he's not like fully Spadef AV Slowking. But even then, if he's AV, he can't Thunder Wave us, he can't Toxic us, there's really nothing much he can do. And we could probably sit up on that Pokemon or just spam Shadow Ball. So Komalo is basically a sack at that point because it dies to Rocks. So he just let it go down, but I'm grateful that he did that because I got the +1 boost, which is awesome. I'm just gonna click Shadow Ball here. I know I talked about how I can live a burn to knock off plus Sucker Punch in the Team Builder, but at this point there's really no reason to risk it because he's got no other Pokemon that can damage me as long as I kill the Slow Kicks. He did ask me because he thought about first impressioning there. He's not banded, we know that. So we always live a first impression because of our defensive investment, unless he gets a crit, of course. So, you know, that's good to know. And at this point, I'm just going to speed up the video because it's pretty obvious that we're going to sweep here with Spectrier. I find it pretty fitting because I think Spectrier has kind of been, you know, not very good this season for us, but in this game, it kind of gets the sweep in the last regular season battle, so that's kind of cool. So shout out to that. We are going to have the first round of the playoffs next week, so make sure you stay tuned for that. It's going to be very exciting. I believe we play a rematch against Munted Muffin, but we'll see. So with that being said, I think I'm going to get up on out of here. GG's to Sceptile. He had a pretty tough matchup, I'd say. As long as we position Quaquaval or Spectrier easily, which we were able to pretty easily, it was pretty tough on him. So great way to finish the regular season with a 6-0. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.